Imagine waking up one day with the extraordinary ability to hear every woman's thoughts. This is the whimsical premise of What Women Want, a romantic comedy that takes us on a roller coaster ride through the life of Nick Marshall, a charming yet arrogant advertising executive. Sounds like a superpower, right? For Nick Marshall, it starts off as a wild fantasy and quickly becomes his biggest nightmare. Meet Nick Marshall, a silver-tongued advertising executive living in the heart of Chicago. He's charming, confident, and, let's be honest, more than a little full of himself. Raised in the glitzy world of Las Vegas by a glamorous showgirl mother, Nick spent his childhood surrounded by sequins, stilettos, and champagne dreams. He learned early how to charm women, but never how to truly understand them. Now a high-level ad man, Nick's world revolves around sharp suits, fast cars, and an endless rotation of women who find him irresistible. He thinks he has it all figured out, and he's certain of one thing: he's getting promoted to creative director at his firm. After all, who else could lead better than him? But just as Nick is polishing his acceptance speech, his boss Dan drops a bombshell. The company is shifting its focus to female consumers, the most powerful demographic in the market, and they've hired someone new to lead the charge, Darcy McGuire, a sharp strategic executive from a rival firm. And yes, she's a woman. Nick is stunned, replaced, outshined, and by a woman no less. The ego bruise is instant. He masks his frustration with a smile, but inside, he's seething. He sees Darcy as a threat, not just to his career, but to his identity. Meanwhile, Nick's personal life gets just as complicated. His ex-wife Gigi asks him to take care of their teenage daughter Alex while she goes on her honeymoon. Nick and Alex have never been close. He's more of a distant, awkward acquaintance than a father. And now, he's suddenly responsible for her full-time. Let's just say, it's not exactly his strong suit. Back at the office, Darcy gets to work shaking up the company culture. She hands out pink boxes filled with women's products. Everything from pantyhose and lipstick to tampons and waxing kits, and challenges the creative team to understand the female consumer. Each employee must come up with pitches from a woman's point of view. Nick scoffs. Please, he grew up around women. He's dated half the city. This'll be easy. That night, he takes the box home. With Sinatra crooning in the background and a martini in hand, Nick begins what can only be described as an incredibly misguided science experiment. He waxes his leg, smears on lipstick, shimmies into pantyhose, and even straps on a bra. Then, in a moment of misguided brilliance, he starts dancing through his apartment. Hairdryer in hand, heels clicking, feeling like the king of femininity. Cue Alex walking in. She freezes in the doorway. He freezes mid-spin. There he is, in all his glory, lipstick smudged, bra strap slipping, and pantyhose clinging. Alex, mortified, storms out. Nick is left standing in the bathroom trying to salvage his dignity. As if that wasn't enough, he slips on a hairdryer cord, falls into the bathtub, still holding the plugged-in dryer, and is electrocuted in a flash of sparks. The next morning, he wakes up groggy but alive. Sort of. Something's off. As his housekeeper speaks to him, he hears something strange. Her voice, but not out loud. Her thoughts. Confused, Nick assumes she's talking, but her lips aren't moving. Wait, what? He hears her thinking he's pathetic, that he's hopeless, that his apartment is a disaster, and that he better not expect her to clean up his man-child mess. Panicked, Nick steps outside. On the street, it's worse. Every woman passing by, he can hear them. That tie is hideous. I hope he doesn't talk to me. Is that Nick Marshall? What a slime ball. It's overwhelming. It's deafening. It's terrifying. Nick races to his therapist. She doesn't believe him. Until he starts answering her unspoken questions. She's stunned, calls him a freak. Then a miracle. Then the luckiest man in the world. For a moment, Nick agrees. Utterly, he knows what women want. He starts testing his powers. At the coffee shop, he listens to Lola, the beautiful barista he's been crushing on. She's thinking about sensitive men, poets, guys who cry at romantic movies. So Nick becomes that guy, or pretends to. He quotes Rumi, mentions he volunteers at an animal shelter. It works. Lola agrees to a date. At the office, things shift. Nick knows what his coworkers really think. He gives Annie, his exhausted secretary, real credit and a break. He helps Aaron, the sad copywriter, feel seen. And most of all, he starts tuning into Darcy. And what he hears surprises him. Darcy is brilliant, focused, vulnerable. She's trying to prove herself in a room full of men who doubt her. She worries, she doubts, she hopes, she dreams. Nick is moved, and then he steals her ideas. He listens to her thoughts about the Nike campaign, an empowering emotional pitch targeted at real women. Then he presents it to the team as his own. It's a hit. The boss loves it. Darcy is impressed. Everyone's buzzing. Nick basks in the glory, and yet the guilt starts to creep in. Meanwhile, his date with Lola heats up. But in the bedroom, Nick hears her real-time critiques. That's not great. Is he gonna do that thing again? Ugh! Nick adjusts on the fly, and Lola is thrilled. But afterward, he feels like a fraud. This isn't connection, it's performance. As time goes on, Nick and Darcy grow closer. They share more than just work. They talk, they laugh. He learns about her past, her failed marriage, her quiet strength. Eventually, they kiss. But the voice in his head, hers, is filled with trust, and Nick knows he hasn't earned it. Then, the campaign launch day arrives. Nick presents it, again a massive success. But then, Darcy is fired. The boss believes she didn't contribute, that Nick did it all. Nick is crushed. He goes to his boss, confesses everything. The ideas were Darcy's, he just stole them. At that moment, he realizes Aaron never showed up to work. His stomach drops. He races through the pouring rain to her apartment. He finds her standing near the window, lost in thought. He talks to her. No power, no tricks, just honesty. Then, another lightning strike. He's hit. When he wakes up, silence. The voices are gone. The next day, he rushes to Darcy's house. She's not home. He leaves a message, tells her everything. And then, he gets a call. Alex is missing. He races to the prom, finds her in the bathroom, crying. Her boyfriend dumped her. She feels ugly, alone. Nick kneels beside her. No advice, no solutions. Just, I'm proud of you. She looks at him and says, for the first time, thanks, Dad. That night, Nick tucks her into bed. Then he walks back to Darcy's house. She's just getting home. He explains everything, the power, the lies, the love. She listens, then smiles. I like you too. They kiss, finally, honestly, silently. Because now, Nick doesn't need to hear her thoughts. He finally knows what women want: respect, empathy, and to be heard. No superpower required. And that's what women want. A hilarious, heartfelt journey that proves sometimes the greatest power is simply listening. Nick thought he needed a miracle to understand women, but what he really needed was empathy, honesty, and a little bit of growth. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into your favorite movies. Got a film you want us to cover next? Drop it in the comments below.